Ah, okay, so here we are. What up, peeps? Rektluse here. So, this video is going to be a little bit different. I was asked by the developers if I could do a review for their game, and I've been told that there were a lot of updates since the last time I played and did my review, and I was asked if I could come back and review their game and check it out and see what it's all about. So I think that's what we're going to do today, peeps. We're going to do this review, and we're just going to kind of check the game out and see, how things have progressed and, where it stands for now. I want to break this review up into multiple parts. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to start with the UI first. The UI itself is fairly basic, which for me is actually a plus. I like very minimalistic UIs. One thing I would like to see is the UI changed up a little bit. I think the HUD placement could be different, maybe put more in the center area. One thing I would really like to be able to see is hotbar placement. That way I can see what tools I have equipped at all times. Certain tooltips that show up, for instance, when you're harvesting an item and it simply says in the middle of your screen, press F. I really like that. For me, that is, quick, easy, and understandable. One thing I don't like is, for instance, is when you go up to a scrap metal pile, you're looking for the toolbox placement for that destructible item. Sometimes it's way off screen, sometimes it's directly ahead, to the point where if you're looking at it, you're no longer able to deconstruct that item. One way I would try to fix this is by increasing the hitbox size of that destructible structure so that you can have an anchored tooltip show up on the UI somewhere that you can always see, that always shows the durability of that item. Having that tooltip move around would be perfectly fine as long as it remained on the screen, so long as you have that structure hovered over with your reticle in the middle crafting. As it is right now, it's a very underwhelming system and it's very clunky to use. There are a few bugs right now that make crafting unbearable. When you go into your character crafting menu, you're going to have multiple boxes pop up. The problem is over time, those boxes will randomly start moving on you, and sometimes will even get lodged up into the top of the screen, and it is impossible to drag them back down. But when they get up out of the screen, the only thing that you can do to fix this is quite simply log out to the main menu and then log back into the game. This also happens when you're using a structure for crafting, i.e. a workbench, weaponsmith, or the refinery. The refinery is particularly frustrating because of the overwhelming amount of time it takes to refine resources. And this is where I want to talk about crafting ratios and timing. As it is right now, I believe all crafting items that you can make by hand should be uniform. In my opinion, there's no reason for item A to take 3 seconds to make, while item B takes 15 seconds to make. The same thing goes for refinery resources. The fact that I can go out for 45 minutes to an hour gathering resources, take them back to the refinery, and then go AFK for an hour waiting for all those items to refine, to me is very underwhelming and makes the game not fun to play at all. I'd also like to point out that weight in this game has no bearing whatsoever. When I'm out gathering and I go overweight on foot, it's a little annoying. If I have a vehicle, it becomes a moot point because I don't have to worry about that weight at all with the vehicle. With that being said, within the first 5 minutes of making a saddle, finding a horse, you can now go around on the horse indefinitely with as much weight as you're carrying and not have any issues. In fact, because of this right now, I feel like the ATV is the best vehicle in the game because it's the lightest. You can carry it on you as long as you have a large bag, completely remain unencumbered while loading it up with everything that you had on you previously. In fact, if you wanted to, once you got the best bag in the game, you could actually load it up with just ATVs and use each one to carry, specific items. Let's talk about non-vendor NPCs here. Simply walking up to one and talking to it will greet you with a generic message. I don't know if these messages ever change from NPC to NPC, but as of right now, they serve no meaning whatsoever. In fact, I feel like if you took all the NPCs out of the game right now, you would have no noticeable difference. Vendor NPCs, on the other hand, are absolutely needed in the game. My biggest complaint with them is their non-uniform prices. You can go from one NPC to sell an item and go to another NPC with that exact same item and get two different prices. This seems to be from city to city and also region to region, planet to planet. Easiest fix here, uniform prices all across the board. I did notice, however, that pricing for items has been changed. It is a little bit more difficult now to make money just by going around gathering and selling. If you know what you're doing, you can still make in-game in less than 4 hours. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Next thing that I really dislike about NPCs right now is the fact that I can go to them and buy all the crafting items I need for a land claim and completely bypass the entire crafting system on my own in a remarkably short amount of time, because I don't have to go out after all these extra rare resources that are needed to make some of these items. Grazer is one example of this. Your handheld laser mining tool. Basically, once you have this in the vehicle, you go out, get the resources you need, refine them, build your claim, go back to the technology NPC, buy all the workstations and whatever else you need, and simply profit. Don't worry about food or starving. All you have to do is go to a food merchant and steal all the items inside their store. So the Outlaw system's new to me. I can only imagine this is a work in progress. Nothing negative happens when you become an outlaw. Simply to become an outlaw, you go through house to house stealing all the items. You will be greeted with a confirmation notice asking if this is a crime you want to commit. You simply do it, take all the items, and go sell them, and that is the fastest way to make money in this game. I do have to admit, I like having 5 shiny stars on the top of my UI.
Nice.
There's not really too much to say about vehicles. My only complaint is that the rover will stop going uphill for no reason. In my opinion, because it's the largest land-based vehicle in the game, it should have no issues with this. Additionally, I don't understand why I could be going full speed on clear land and then all of a sudden it spins out, flops over, dies, and just does all kinds of crazy stuff. Land claims are pretty self-explanatory. My only complaint is building placement. I think some of the items cost too much to build. Concrete in particular needs to be addressed. Metal seems to be okay. I spent 2 8-hour days so that I could do this review. The first day was simply just so I could get reacclimated with the game. The second day was to see how fast and how far I could get in a limited amount of time. In the game's current state, it only takes about 4 hours once you know what you're doing. Sadly, once you've done that, you've done everything. There is no reason to go to space. There is no reason to travel to other planets. Fortunately, during my time, I was only greeted by one other player on each day. I do feel like this game has come a long way. I do feel that it has a very long way to go. With the limited amount of developers currently making this game, and the fact that I haven't seen anything innovative in this open world sandbox survival, things look pretty generic. It seems like they have a pretty big mountain to climb. The fact that this game has been in early access for as long as it has, and the player base is as low as it is, I can see a lot of foreseeable struggles in the days ahead. I do want to say thank you for allowing me to make this review video for you. I hope that it helps you understand some of the struggles that I came across while playing the game. I just want to wish you guys the best of luck, and if there's anything else I can do, let me know. Alright peeps, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, notify buttons. Leave some comments down below, and I'll see y'all later.